Ladies, gentlemen, we back. Fellas, how you doing today, fellas?
Good.
Wonderful, wonderful. How are you?
Chime in, Brett. Where you at?
Oh, dude, I'm doing delightful today.
Delightful. Let's go.
Fellas, it's been a minute.
Yes, it has.
4 years? 4 years?
4 years.
4
God.
years.
Oh my God.
That's a presidential term.
Yeah.
We were basically children. We were basically fetuses at this point. Fellas, this is 4 quarters of a whole idiot podcast. Just 4 dudes being bros, talking about some foosball.
Oh, yeah.
Some foosball. Ooh.
Some foosball. All right, fellas, for the people who weren't here 4 years ago, or the people who don't know us, let's go around the table, introduce ourselves. I'll start. My name is Austin Specht. Welcome. Noah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself now?
Did you say Noah?
Oh, I said Noah. You're Noah. Do we have another Noah in here?
No, I was
I'm
confirming
not
what you
Noah.
said. My name is Noah Druin. That's it.
Baby. Oh,
That's
baby.
it.
There we go.
Sweet.
No.
Sweet content. Sweet.
That's awesome.
Yo, make sure you get all that, Craig. Make sure you keep all that in here, Craig.
Correct.
My name is Austin Corey.
There we go, Austin.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
My name is Brett Shevlin.
Boo.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, why wait? Let's how long have we been doing this fantasy football league?
We're in season 6 now.
6. 4 years
Yep.
since a podcast, 6 years since starting.
Yep.
My Lord.
Yeah,
Yep.
since sophomore
So-
year in high school.
Some of us, we're not all fantasy pros like me, 40 losses, most in the league, we can't all do what I can do.
It's impressive.
But, we've been doing this for a little bit. So, it's not like we are kind of pulling shit out of our ass. I can't say we're pros, but we are kind of pulling shit out.
Just a little bit.
Just a
wee
tiny-
bit.
Yeah.
A wee bit of shit. All right, fellas. What are we talking about first? What's the first topic, Brett?
According to the agenda, we're starting with some starting and sitting,
Oh, baby.
and I think we delegated our tasks amongst one another for each position. So, do you want to just start at the top of the lineup? Who got quarterbacks? Who do you got?
I got. So,
Okay.
I can't say I'm a quarterback pro because I think these fellas can attest. What's the only position I pick that does anything? Like, literally anything.
Quarterback.
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 fellas. All right. So I got a surprising sit, but I'll let you salivate over that one. I'll start with my start. So my
Okay.
start, I got he's on the rise. So this might not come as a surprise to many people, but I have Jacoby Brissett.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Dude?
Yep.
Dude, for
Yep.
real.
I picked him up.
Yeah.
See, Austin picked him up. See, Austin knows. We're Austin and Austin on the same wavelength. dog.
I mean, I needed somebody after Drew Brees went down.
Yeah, well,
Your team needs a lot of things.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, Austin, don't stop at just quarterback. All right, so there's a little reason. I don't think that Jacoby Brissett doing this good. It's no sham. I don't. It's not like they're playing a bunch of bums like the 49ers. It's not like they're playing a bunch of scrubs. They're playing. They're playing some legit teams. And then this week, they may be going up against a crazy offense, but KC has the 30th worst defense in the league. They give up 408 yards a game total all-purpose yards.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
pretty good.
heinous.
Wow.
That is also 30th. And they also give up 23.5 points a game. That's 19th. And they give up 20. They give up 258 passing yards a game. That's 20th. And that having Mahomes on the field, they literally need like one pass to score. So Jacoby Brissett's probably going to be on the field, a lot. So that's my guy to look out for. He's coming up, friggin' Andrew Luck decides to call it quits. I think this is a good guy to look out for. Coming up through the Tom Brady system. Yeah, exactly. And now this might if you're not sitting, find a seat because this might knock you off your feet. Dr. Seuss bars. All right. So my sit is Dak Prescott.
Whoa!
Oh,
Yeah.
Dak against Green Bay?
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh.
Now I know.
No, I agree. I'm agreeing with
Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Noah. Thank you. And now I know I have Dak Prescott on my team, and he's the only one doing anything. But now Green Bay's defense is literally breaking its back, holding them up because the offense has no run game. They ain't got shit going on. 330 yards a game. That's 10th in the league. 10th, obviously, the closer you are to 1, the better you are. 188 passing yards a game. That's 3rd. That is nothing. That's literally like nothing. 188 passing. They've only given up 4 passing TDs. That's tied for 4th. But they also are 6th in takeaways. They have 8 takeaways this season. And, Amari Cooper is the best Cowboys wide receiver out there, I'd say. You might say Gallup, but I'd say Amari Cooper.
Gallup's hurt too.
Gallup is hurt. See, Austin, this is why we have you sitting around. Jair Alexander covering Amari Cooper. But, they give up 142 rushing yards a game and 5 rushing TDs all season. That's 27th in the league. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to be the one to have a good game. I don't think Dak Prescott's going to be able to have a good game, especially coming off that Saints loss where he didn't do too spicy. But, I think sitting Dak this week, I don't know, maybe give that backup quarterback a chance. You never know.
Yeah, and I did watch the Green Bay Philadelphia game, I believe, last week. The Thursday night one? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I did notice was Jordan Howard just running rampant through that Green Bay
3
defense.
touchdowns.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns against them.
Yeah.
And Carson Wentz struggled mightily. So
And I don't think it is. I don't think it's unfair to say that those Cowboys have a better running back than Jordan Howard. I think Ezekiel Elliott's just a little better than Jordan Howard.
yeah, just a little,
Just a tad.
Yeah.
Speaking of running backs, who's got running backs? Austin, you got running backs?
I do indeed have running backs. Yes.
Yay. Hero boy.
So I actually wrote down 3 starts and 3 sets. I don't know if that's too many or not.
Whoa! Austin, you take your time. You give us what you think.
All right.
You give it to us.
All right. So my first one might be a little shocking because he's kind of sucked this season. But Sony Michel, I have him as a starter this week. Facing the Washington, that defense that's just god awful. They just let Wayne Gallman fucking torch them. I'm gonna take Michel in that.
Yeah, I mean,
he's gonna find the end zone in it. You know what I mean? And the defense is gonna be playing from behind the entire game because Tom Brady's just gonna annihilate the team. So
and also I have a quick fact to add in that I don't know if you had this, but the Redskins are 4th worst in the league in rushing yards against them per game, with a nice 147.5.
Yikes.
Opponent.
Yeah.
No, it gets better. The Dolphins are leading the league by almost 30 over the second, which is the Chiefs.
Are we counting them? Are we counting them as an NFL team?
The Dolphins are allowing 175.8 rushing yards per game.
Oh no!
Continue, Austin. I just wanted to throw that out there.
That's some crazy stats, man. Anyways, yeah. So Sony Michel, that's one. My next one is Mr. Royce Freeman over in Denver.
What?
Royce.
Yes, I would start him. I would actually consider him a strong RB2 this week. The reason being, he's facing a middle-of-the-pack defense, but I think he's going to score his first touchdown in this game. He's averaging 4.5 yards per carry this season, which is better than a lot of other, running backs who are doing well. Austin Eckler is only averaging 2.8 yards per carry right now.
And Austin Eckler is probably not going to be playing much anymore.
Well, hold on, time out. Finish this. And,
God.
Anyways, I think Royce Freeman is going to get a lot of carries in this game. He typically does get more carries in away games, which is interesting. And the game script, I think that Denver's going to put up. They're not going to allow a heavy lead. So I think their run game is going to be very persistent in this one. So I got Royce Freeman as an RB2 this week.
Okay.
Interesting.
And then my third is Austin Eckler. I would start him, as I am in our league. And the main reason being, I know that Melvin Gordon's coming back, but against Denver, they are the 29th worst ranked defense in the league right now against rushing. But their secondary is still phenomenal. They're like ranked number 3 in their secondary defense. So yeah. I don't think Phillip Rivers is going to be able to throw a whole ton in this game. So it's going to be a lot of carry split to Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler. The coach already said that he wants to ease Melvin back into the game. So it's not like he's going to come back and grab 30 touches immediately. You know, he hasn't had physical contact in the sport in a while, so they're going to ease him into it. So I still think Austin Eckler is going to be there, and I think he's going to be able to produce RB1 numbers this week.
Whoa, RB1 numbers.
Yeah.
All right, end the podcast. That was freezing cold takes.
Yo, all right. I mean,
let's see
Sunday.
See it, dude. Let's see it. I don't know,
man. I'm not doubting him. I think he's got it.
All right.
Anyways, moving on to the sits for the running backs this week. I have Adrian Peterson in my sit bracket. He's had 33 carries this season and has only rushed for 90 yards and 1 single touchdown. That's absolutely awful. And he's facing the Patriots this week, who have one of the strongest rush defenses in the league all of a sudden. So
yep.
Isn't he like 110 years old too? Isn't he? I feel like he's a million years old.
I think he's 36.
He should be running through the fucking like retirement.
Hey, Frank Gore ran for like 150 yards last week.
Frank
Gore's
still
been
less than that's still less than his age. He in my head, he's literally like 537 years old.
Yeah. Speaking of Frank Gore, as a matter of fact, I have him as my next sit candidate for this week.
I agree with that.
Yeah, although he is averaging 4.5 yards per carry this season, which is pretty freaking good for Frank Gore. He's on 61 attempts, actually. That's what I wrote down. Singletary's expected to return this week, though, so he's going to get some carries vultured there. And they're facing Tennessee, which is the 13th ranked rush defense, and I would not trust Frank Gore, given his age and the limit of work he's going to get in this game, to produce any close to what he's been producing this season. So I would leave him on the bench.
Okay.
And the last hit I have is Miles Sanders on the Eagles.
Ooh, interesting.
Because I know he's like supposed to be the feature back over there, but not after last week, man. Jordan Howard ran that show. And with Jordan Howard there, Miles Sanders has yet to actually rush for a touchdown. Jordan Howard has been able to rush for all the goal lines that they have, all the opportunities at the goal line. So I would not even consider putting Miles Sanders in at my flex. I would keep him on the bench.
Wow. Not even at the flex?
Not even at the flex.
You're yanking the man out.
Yeah, they're playing home. At home, and at home he only averages 3.3 yards per carry. I'm all set with that.
I'm all set with that.
Brett, you heard it. Brett, go set your lineup, dog. You got it.
Brett.
I mean, Miles Sanders was already on my bench.
Brett's ahead of you, and that's all he's trying to say.
I'm just saying, man. That's my.
Well, one thing that I've noticed as well is Miles Sanders isn't even getting the third down gig. They're giving that to Darren Sproles. So, yeah, Darren Sproles is still around. In case you did not know,
yeah. him and Colt McCoy still in the league.
Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah. So you running the ball something, Brett. But Brett, someone's got to catch the ball. Am I right?
Someone definitely does have to catch the ball. Nelson Aguilar.
Did you see that story in Philadelphia? The dude who's like catching babies out the window of a burning building, and he in his head had the time to tell the news station. He was like, "I was catching these babies out the window, unlike Aguilar."
Yes, I did see that.
And it's like, yep, that's what I would be thinking too, my man.
Oh man.
What's funny is Nelson Aguilar actually responded to that and offered him home tickets to the next game. So that's some classiness from Mr. Nelson Aguilar.
Antonio Brown probably started talking shit or something.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Let's not get too carried away with Antonio Brown, though. That's
He doesn't deserve our fucking time.
no, he does not.
No, he doesn't. I agree.
All right, Brett, who's catching the ball for you this week, fellas?
All right, so I have wide receivers. And this start may be a little surprising to you guys, but
Okay.
just factor in that Devontae Adams suffered a turf toe injury last week. So it does not look like he's going to be available on Sunday. So I'm saying start Marquez Valdes-Scantling.
Yo.
Okay.
I think he's going to get a lot of volume. I think Aaron Rodgers is really going to be hucking up the ball this week. I think he's a good play,
Who are the Packers facing this
Yeah, I
week?
was gonna say who they playing. Oh, the Cowboys.
Yeah, they're playing the Cowboys.
Cowboys, okay.
So that definitely could be a shootout, if Dak and Rodgers are just throwing dimes all game,
Considering that the Green Bay has literally like no running game, it's probably going to be Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball the whole time.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Valdes-Scantling, Geronimo Allison, either of those I would put in my flex. Yeah, if you have them, go pick them up, go start them. And my sit is Sammy Watkins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Tell no. You tell him.
What a no, I don't want to hear it. What a fucking flash in the pan that was. I thought I hit a gold mine with him, and he's been...
Yeah, so week 1, Sammy Watkins had 9 catches for 198 yards.
Yes, he did.
And 3 touchdowns.
Yes,
Monster
he did.
performance, yeah.
Yep.
Since that performance, he has not topped over 65 receiving yards.
Boo. Has he caught a
Yep.
touchdown since?
He has not.
No.
Oh, bro.
And the Chiefs are playing the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday Night Football. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but the Indianapolis Colts have a pretty good pass defense.
Do they?
I was not aware, actually.
I was not at all. I thought the Colts defense was just terrible all around.
No,
I didn't think it was terrible all around, but
the Colts are allowing the 11th fewest fantasy points per game to receivers. I believe they still have Vontae Davis. That's most likely going to be the matchup that he has. And Demarcus Robinson and Mecole Hardman have been pretty good deep threats alongside Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins has seen his targets decrease every single game since week 1.
are you done yet?
Brett, me boy, I just want to mention something. You said who did you say was going to be out there on defense? Who's the first name? You say Vontae
Davis. I believe he's still on the Colts, right?
Isn't he the dude who retired at halftime like last year? I know he was on the Colts because didn't he catch that like the quote unquote deflated football?
No. Vontae Davis was the person who he during halftime retired from the league.
Welcome to Four Quarters Idiot Expert Analysis.
Expert analysis.
Oh.
Okay, so Sammy Watkins no go. I mean,
regardless of the matchup he draws, I would not start Sammy Watkins.
So you're saying they could put a Kansas City high school cornerback out there and you wouldn't take Sammy Watkins?
No.
I mean,
no.
Not if there's faster people on the team.
Yeah, I mean,
it does suck playing for Mahomes. Oh, well, okay, that.
I mean, plus
it does not. It does not
going to be back any week now, so Sammy Watkins is really going to become irrelevant really soon.
True. But Mahomes does not discriminate, man. He just throws the ball to literally anyone.
Yeah, yep. I think he just throws it down the field, not really aiming, and just lets everybody get it. It's pretty good.
All right. So, all right, Noah. Man, who we got for tight ends?
Alrighty. So I had the misfortune and just awful time getting the tight ends because this is the thinnest position by far in this league, and honestly, I couldn't even think of more than 2 people to sit because you should just sit most of them anyways. So here's what we got. Number 1, start of the week, kind of goes without saying. I got Travis Kelce versus the Indianapolis Colts. Despite the pretty rugged pass defense that the Colts have, they're actually allowing the 3rd most fantasy points to tight ends this season. They've allowed 260 yards and 3 touchdowns to tight ends. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the league. He's kind of a no-brainer start, obviously. I don't even know why I put him here. It's just an obvious start. The next 2 are pretty interesting. I'm going to go next with Eric Ebron of the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
Kill me, dude. I hate that name now.
So I anticipate this game, at least on paper, I think is going to be a bit of a shootout. At least I hope it is. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring affair. The Colts are going to have to score if they want to keep up. Kansas City has allowed the 7th most fantasy points to tight ends this season. And I think Ebron, I mean, he's obviously been like one of the biggest letdowns of the season for most fantasy owners, actually, because he's just not replicating what he did last season. But I think that he might actually get some usage this week. And finally, my other kind of random pick for starting this week for tight ends is Tyler Eifert versus
Whoa!
Yeah, well, no,
We all know that
Tyler,
name, huh?
Tyler Eifert versus the Arizona Cardinals. Tyler Eifert has also been kind of a letdown this season. I don't think he's topped more than like 10 fantasy points, but he is facing the worst passing or tight end defense in the league. The Cardinals have allowed 5 touchdowns to tight ends and almost 300 yards.
they just don't cover tight ends.
Eifert is very much a touchdown or bust sort of tight end in my opinion, but I think he might actually have a pretty good showing. The Cardinals are kind of a dumpster fire, and that can also be said about their effort against tight ends. So those are my 3 starts of the week for tight ends. Moving on to sits, again, I could just tell you to sit most people that aren't named like Mark Andrews and, all those other people, Zach Ertz, etc. The 2 that I am going to say to stay away from, the first one is no-brainer, Kyle Rudolph versus the New York Giants. Kyle Rudolph has been another tremendous just disappointment. I
feel like that's a common hole though, him every year.
Yeah, so like the past game of the Vikings is literally non-existent, so there's just no reason to even roster him at this point. Obviously, people are starting to doubt even like bothering to roster Thielen and Diggs, or at least trying to trade away from them before they get even substantially worse. So Kyle Rudolph is my major sit. And then I also have Jason Witten versus the Green Bay Packers. I think that's going to be a pretty competitive game. And I don't think Witten is going to be like able to just do anything. He's had a couple touchdowns this season, but he's been very cool. He's been getting like 4 catches for like 40 yards ish a week. But I think he might even be reduced lower than that just because he's old and he's facing a tough defense.
He's
like
old.
37.
You ain't wrong.
I love the man. I loved him since I was a kid. I'm glad he's still doing this, but I don't think he's a good start this week. And yeah. Now I'm going to try and get through my defenses quickly because I also have defenses because tight ends was fucking miserable. So my start of the week is an absolute no-brainer. It's the New England Patriots versus the Washington Redskins. I don't really need to explain that. Just put the Patriots in your lineup and enjoy.
Never ever take them.
Yeah. My second start is actually the Tennessee Titans versus the Buffalo Bills. I tried to pick some stuff that was kind of out of left field. I think this is going to be a very competitive game, and I'm actually looking forward to it. And I guess we'll cover this a little bit more later on, but I do think the Titans the Bills' offense is all right, but the Titans have actually been playing super strong defense this season. And this is just an important game for both teams, and I think that the Titans are going to put on a good performance against the Bills. This last one is kind of I'm hesitant to say this is a start, but I am kind of confident. And so I'm going to say to start the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No, yeah, I know.
Because we're kind of seeing the next chapter of a rivalry between these two teams with 2 brand new quarterbacks under the helm for the season. So we got Jackson and Rudolph. Rudolph is just not, he hasn't come into his own yet. The Ravens It's just an important game for them. It's a divisional matchup, and I think that the Ravens are probably the third best team in the AFC, and I think they're going to prove that against the Steelers. Offense has scored, I think, over 20 points every game besides Week 1, but I don't think they're gonna show up against the Ravens. So I think the Ravens are a good start this week. And then just quickly to go through my sits, I have Broncos at Chargers. I think with Melvin Gordon back in the lineup, in the Broncos already just having a pitiful rush defense, I think the Chargers are going to dice them up real good. And then I have Packers versus Cowboys. The Packers defense was playing on a pretty top-tier level at the beginning of the season, but they've kind of, I mean, I know I said to sit Witten, but I still think the Packers defense is... I think they're going to get chopped up by the Cowboys, to be honest. They haven't really played at that same level at all since, like, from the beginning of the season. And then I have Jets at Eagles. The Jets are the Jets, and they're at Philadelphia playing the Eagles. And the Eagles have been playing some good football this season. Their offense has actually been all right. And yeah, I don't really have much more evidence other than it's the Jets. Don't start the Jets defense.
That's the only evidence you need, dude.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold was ruled out earlier with mono, so I believe Luke Falk will be starting again.
Woo, man,
Yeah,
the
there it
quality.
is.
Yeah, no, we're all set with that. Thanks.
That's my starts and sits for the defenses and Titans. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh,
That was a lot.
You heard it here first. Actually, if I ever say to pick up a tight end, just ignore me, because I have no luck, and I mean no luck with tight ends. I drafted Eric Ebron so high. I don't remember exactly how high, but I remember it was too late. And he dropped a measly 1 point for me in the first week. So I was like, you know what? Fuck that guy. So I dropped his ass, and I picked up TJ Hawkinson, who literally had like some crazy freaking 100-yard game. It was 6 receptions for 131 yards, just so he can get 1 point on my team. So I was like, you know what? Nah, that a fluke, absolute fluke. So they go up against Philadelphia in week 3, and he gets fucking 1 point. So I'm like, all right, well, and at this point, I kind of realized, my season's pretty much over because I have Adam Thielen on my team. So there you go. So I'm like, I need to make a trade desperately. I have a few good running backs on my team. I got Matt Breida and I got Mark Ingram. So I was like, maybe I can get rid of Phillip Lindsay. And I got Delaney Walker, who, again, in week 1, had a great game with 2 touchdowns. And I put him on my team. Fellas, I'll give you one guess about how many points you get. One fucking point. So I'll put a picture of my team every week, and if anyone wants to just take a look at tight end, if you got him, drop him. Don't put him on the bench.
Gone.
Baby, what a perfect segue. Speaking of dropping things, fellas, picking up people, dropping people on your fantasy team, that could make or break your season. Unless I pick them up and they decide to stop playing football, which
Hey man, I stopped playing.
Thank you, Hollywood Brown.
On your team too.
Hollywood goddamn Brown. Right, dude. Hollywood Brown just decided to stop playing, and I'm like watching Ravens games, and it's like Lamar Jackson hucks up a 56-yard, and I'm like Marquise Brown, and it's like to Roberts, and I'm like, who the fuck is Roberts? I'll start her up. So this actually correlates with my team too, because I got Peyton Barber on my team. This is a popular one. You really should go look to pick up Ronald Jones, because he's only owned in. He literally just had a career high in carries of 19 last game. He's had 70 plus rushing yards in 3 of the 4 games he's played, and he's out-touched Barber 35-24 over the last 2 weeks. So he's creeping up into the start category. Almost time to drop Peyton Barber at this point.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and he maybe start, but definitely a stash. Definitely put him on your bench, let him ride it a little bit, and see if he can see if he can make a difference for you. And then I'll keep it in the Bucks family because my drop is I think it's time. It sucks, especially because Noah was just saying that the tight ends are Garbo this year.
Yep.
But it's probably time to drop OJ Howard.
Yeah.
Even though Jameis Winston has started making like some weird like comeback in the last few weeks, he had 4 receptions for 32 yards in week 1, 3 for 66 in week 3, and 3 for 33 in week 4. Yet notice that I kept out week 2 because he had no receptions for no yards. And I checked. I was like, well, maybe he was injured. I couldn't find any evidence to say that he was injured. So he just sucks, which is worse than being injured. I'd rather have a broken leg. And he only has 10 whole receptions for 131 yards. He's averaging 5.5 points. He's still owned in 83% leagues. And it ain't getting easier. It ain't getting easier. You know, you can't play the Giants and the Redskins every week. So he's got to go play the Saints and the Panthers coming up. And the Panthers are the team who held him to 0-0-0. So I don't think, unless, change something, I don't think he's going to get any better. And especially on that team, there's 2 other dudes to throw to, Evans and Godwin. I would rather throw to them anyway.
So what you're saying is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need to sign Austin Seferian-Jenkins back because
yes, get him back. Well, if maybe they can make a pitch to Gronk and get Gronk back on the field.
Oh, there you go.
Gronk
That'd be something I'd want to see.
Well, I don't know if you heard this. Someone radio interviewed Gronk. I don't even know who. They asked him, like, what's one thing you could want? Like you could have anything. And he said, like, oh, no, was that one superpower? What superpower do you want? He said teleportation so he can teleport to Florida. Well, first off, who the hell wants to go to Florida? And
old people.
Is Gronk old? What is he? I can't imagine he's older than 30.
Maybe that's where he gets his CBD oil.
Yeah,
I think he's like 31.
Okay. So we're not. He's loading up on
he's
the
30.
Mary Jane. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. OJ Howard just sucks. I've never been a big OJ Howard guy, but who am I to talk about tight ends? All right, who's next? Who we got?
I mean, we can just go to Brett next. Or actually, Austin was second for the starting and sitting. So,
okay. So, this one actually is definitely going to come to a surprise to you guys. But the first
everything you say.
No,
well, he's going to be like, drop Patrick Mahomes.
The pickup for me this week. So he's only owned in 29.8% of leagues, and he ties DeAndre Hopkins for some of the most targets in the league at 36. And the guy I'm talking about is Cole Beasley.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought you were Fuller.
Cole Beasley in PPR league seeing 36 targets in 4 weeks. He could produce some nice numbers in a PPR league. That's 9 targets a game. So I picked up Cole Beasley in our league this week, and I'm not starting him just yet. But he's definitely going to be in my lineup, possibly on my flex position next week.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Also, in addition to it, looking at his schedule after his week 6 bye, he's got a fairly easy schedule. Miami, Philadelphia, Washington, Cleveland, Miami again. It's just for the end of the season, or towards the end of the season, he's gonna have really good matchups. So, Cole Beasley, my pickup for the week. And if you are unfortunate enough to have him, Kenyon Drake, he's my drop of the week.
Oh man,
you should have just said any Miami Dolphins player.
Yeah, basically. But in the couple weeks that he's played, I think they have a bye week this week. He has 31 carries for 113 yards. He's yet to find the end zone. I don't know if anybody's found the end zone in Miami yet. But he's got 2 fumbles already in a few games, so he's got some fumble issues. And the Dolphins are going to be playing behind every single game they play this season, clearly. So he's not going to be getting a lot of work, and he's not the biggest factor as a pass catcher. So Kenyon Drake, don't stash him, just drop him.
Okay.
Good to know. I'll have.
Not that we were gonna keep him in the first place.
Brett, don't you have Kenyon Drake?
I do have Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, yes you do. See, maybe you should.
You poor boy. He doesn't
Just
need
let
any
him go.
help. Brett doesn't. Yeah, Brett doesn't need any help. Have you seen this team?
Yeah, a fact.
All right. So I'll just go with my pickup this week, and that is one of Golden Tate.
Golden
Okay.
Tate.
Golden Tate. Yeah, he returns from his 4-game suspension this week. Who are the Giants playing? That's a good question.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. So I think, the Giants still have Sterling Shepard, who has been having a very good year. So I think if I were to guess, I would say Minnesota will be very locked in on trying to contain Sterling Shepard. And
Don't
I'm not
say that.
Yeah, we
Continue.
we have Mr. Austin here with
I love Sterling Shepard.
Sterling Shepard
He's my
fetish.
man. A
Fetish.
fetish. I
Let's
wouldn't
be
say
real.
that,
Like, what
but
is it? Come on now.
It's. I just think the guy's good, man. That's all. And he is.
And he didn't have any. Yeah, he didn't have any evidence to support that claim until this year.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, bro. He blew up for a couple games last season too.
The couple games that you wouldn't start him.
Listen to me. I started him once. He blew up for 400. I started, and that was good enough for me. I've had Sterling Shepard on my team, I think, every season since he's come into the league. So I'm going to try and continue that tradition. He's been the one constant factor, and I like that.
And you
Okay,
have no
well,
Sterling Shepard
championships.
is my guy,
Yeah.
but I'd sit him this week.
All right. Well, moving on. So yeah, I think Golden Tate probably will not be a factor right away, but in his time with the Detroit Lions, he was a very good volume catcher in PPR leagues. If you're in a PPR league, I would definitely go and snag Golden Tate. He's very reliable. He hardly ever drops passes. Very good in the slot. With the way Daniel Jones has been playing, they've definitely been leaning more on the passing since Saquon Barkley is out. So I think Golden Tate is a very good pickup this week. As far as my drop, Austin alluded to him earlier. I think you should just drop Adrian Peterson.
Ah.
Okay.
What you said, Austin, about Kenyon Drake and how the Dolphins are always, down by a ton. That's pretty much the same with the Redskins. I think they're fighting for the number 1 overall pick. I think they're trying to lose. If they're not, that's pretty sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, Chris Thompson, I think, is the guy to maybe play in a flex spot if you're going to start any Washington Redskin. I think Chris Thompson would be a better play personally. And Adrian Peterson, I think he's only averaging like 3 yards a carry this season. I don't think he's touched the end zone.
He's got 1 touchdown, but 2.7 yards per carry.
Yeah, 2.7 yards a carry. You don't want that on your team. Just drop him. That's it.
Duly
Okay.
noted. Duly noted. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he's averaging 7.5 fantasy points at the moment.
Is it me? Is that
It
it?
is you.
Oh, it's you.
Alrighty.
The
So
one and only.
I'll start with my sit, or not my sit, my drop. I think a hard drop is Mr. Robbie Anderson of the New York Jets.
Yes.
Another tremendous
Yeah.
letdown this season. Even with Darnold, like people are saying, once Darnold comes back, Anderson's gonna be back to being like the premier deep threat that he was for 2 seasons ago and a little bit last season. But I'm not buying it. I don't buy anybody on the Jets team except for Le'Veon Bell sometimes. So I think Robbie Anderson, I think he was drafted by 85% of leagues going into the season, and I think he's down to like sub 60 ownership in ESPN leagues, and that's just going to continue to drop. And I think some people wasted a mid draft pick on him, and they're very upset about it. So just rip the Band-Aid off, drop him. You don't need him. No, Mr. Robbie Anderson. However, I do have two kind of weird replacements. I tried to kind of go out of the box here for I have two ads. Number one, I'm going to go with Auden Tate from Cincinnati. Now that Jean Ross III is on the IR and basically out for the rest of the season effectively, Auden Tate will be coming in as the wide receiver 2 next to Tyler Boyd. And John Ross kind of cooled down the last 2 weeks, but I mean, just within the first 4 weeks, had 328 receiving yards. And Auden Tate, like I said, will be the wide receiver 2 for at least around 2 weeks or maybe a little bit more while AJ Green is recovering. So I think he might be a sneaky little pickup for the next couple of weeks. And then my other, this one is going to surprise you, but I'm picking the rookie Preston Williams from the Miami Dolphins.
What?
And I'll explain
the
why.
Dolphins?
How far are you scrolling, Noah?
So Preston Williams is actually
owned in 0% of leagues.
He is owned by 4.8% of fantasy football leagues. And despite that, he has a respectable 30 targets on the season already and 201 yards on 15 receptions. He's averaging about 9 or 10 points a game, which is not bad for a flex if you really think about it.
I don't want 9 points for my flex.
I mean, in the last 2 games, he's seen 19 targets. So if he can start adding some touchdowns on top of him getting decent receptions and targets every single game and yards, I think he might be a sneaky pickup as well. Especially since the Dolphins will always be playing from behind. He might be one to look out for. He's not someone to immediately start, but he might be someone to keep an eye on and definitely add, in my opinion, depending on the depth of your league. And those are my 2 pickups.
Maybe in a 12-team. 12
maybe
league.
In a 16-team league. What?
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that one, dude.
Preston Williams is not on my radar by any
Noah
means.
was Noah was questionably silent when I said drop all Miami players. He's like, "Oh, really?"
Hey, 30 targets. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's a respectable amount, but look at the guy who's throwing to him. That's why he's not getting 30 catches.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is. What is Rosen? Is Rosen the one?
I'm sticking by Preston Williams and Auden Tate. Those are my pickups.
Write that shit down, dude. If Noah gets this right, watch. He's gonna blow up. He's gonna blow up first.
Yep. And also, to be honest, Ronald Jones was my number 1, but someone already said him, and Golden Tate as well. So I had to kind of go on the fly, but I actually have been looking at Preston Williams recently, so that's why I said him.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's all I got.
All right, that's the T.
That's spicy. I was gonna say, holy shit! I thought I was like, yeah, I'm gonna say Ronald Jones, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure a million people are already gonna pick him up. Noah came in with the sauce, dude.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Wow.
Fellas. All right. Well, we got a lot of NFL stuff to talk about too, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, starting week 1, it took a few weeks to get this going, but we got a lot to talk about in the NFL. So who? All right. So obviously, I think it goes without saying, 1 and 2 Patriots Chiefs power rankings. I don't think that's debatable.
That's what I got.
No.
You can flip them whichever way you want, but I'd say just because of defense, I think the Patriots have to go first.
Yes,
I agree.
And but after that, it's kind of a toss. I'm not too high on the Rams after they just lost. After they just lost last night to the Seahawks.
Yep, and we'll talk about that game later on.
Absolutely talk about that game. We definitely
put a bookmark in it.
Yeah,
put a bookmark in it.
Tune in. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that the Saints are. This is my humble opinion, is that the Saints are probably 3. Actually, no. Let me. I think in my personal opinion, the Cowboys are 3. I got Cowboys 3, and then after the Cowboys, I have the Saints, and then this is another personal opinion. I have Russell Wilson and the Seahawks at 5. And Russell Wilson is playing like an absolute MVP.
Yeah, he's doing real good this season.
Killing it. Now, I would say 5, 6, that's probably where the Green Bay Packers and the Los Angeles Rams fall into play. One reason I put, the Seahawks ahead of the Packers is, I said it earlier, you got to run the football. You can't just pass the whole time. And that's kind of what killed them. That's kind of why they lost to the Eagles. They were on the goal line and they couldn't run it. had to pass it, and he got picked off. So I think it's fair to say that, especially after Chris Carson had a good game last night, I think it's fair to say I'm high on the Seahawks for sure.
Yeah, I'm with you. I actually have the Seahawks at number 3 on my power rankings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who's 4 and 5?
4 and I have Rams followed by Cowboys on mine.
Okay.
I think even though so the Seahawks would have lost last night if Greg Zuerlein could hit a 44-yarder, despite the fact that he can hit like 58s. But I think I don't know. Like you said it, Russell Wilson is playing absolutely out of his mind, and also now Rashad Penny is back in the backfield with Chris Carson, and that is a very good duo to have. And I don't know, something just feels right about the Seahawks, especially since I don't know, I would have had the Cowboys at number 3 until they finally faced a good team and got exposed like super hard. So I mean, I don't think they should fall out of the top 5, but they've definitely fallen to number 5 where they would have been number 3. And I think the Rams are, they deserve to be like right in there. I could flip the Rams and the Seahawks just given how the result was last night, but I still think the Seahawks are the overall better team over the Rams.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like it could go in.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They're so damn close. Austin, I know you were saying before we started that you had a certain team at number 5.
Yes. So, obviously at the 1 and the 2, you got Patriots, Chiefs. At 3, I have the Cowboys. 4, the Seahawks. Obviously, we just talked about Russell Wilson. But at number 5, above the Rams, above the Saints, above even the Packers, I am high on Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers, man. They're 3-0 right now. They're just coming off a bye week, and I think I like them. I think they're legit, man.
Ooh, man. Okay. All right.
God,
I don't even know what to say, dude.
I don't know what to say either because we can't tell yet. I wish they had played week 4 to see,
same.
It's hard for me to justify putting a team that's only played 3 games as opposed to 4. Like, that's a big difference this early in the season.
It's not a big sample size.
But I mean, like, they're putting up points. They've scored like almost 100 points this season. It's kind of impressive.
Mean, they haven't faced the most difficult of teams. It's been Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh, but those aren't the worst teams. You know what I mean? So. I think,
Cincinnati.
Well, Cincinnati, yeah. But I mean, the Bucks, they kind of had a pretty strong defense so far this season. And Pittsburgh, the defense I would say is better than our offense at the moment.
I don't know.
I'm not.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm with you. I need to see one more game. They're playing the Browns. I think the Browns are a pretty similar team in like their standing in the conference in their respective conferences once the whole season shakes out. I don't think the 49ers are for real. I don't think they're a bad team, but I don't think like to put them in the top 5 of the power rankings and specifically like I guess 2nd or 3rd in the NFC, that's to say that they're a contender to win the conference, and I don't think that's what they are.
No, absolutely not. Especially, I don't know, just for what I've seen from Garoppolo this year is not what I've seen from him prior. Before he obviously tore his ACL last season. It just, a lot of mistakes, a lot of turnovers.
Yep.
I think they need to clean that up for sure. And just the lack of offensive weapons aside from George Kittle, I don't know if they can continue their pace of play.
I'm with you,
Brett. Yeah, I definitely feel that. All right, Brett, who you got?
All right, so I have the same 5 teams that Spect said. However, my order is a little bit different. Patriots, Chiefs, 1-2.
Yep.
And I think the Saints deserve to be in that number 3 slot. And the reason that I say that is because without Drew Brees, the Saints went on the road in Seattle and pulled out a big win.
Yeah.
Their defense is, I think, much improved this year. Bridgewater, I can't say I'm a big fan of him.
He is why they're not in the top 5 for me.
Absolutely. You got to eventually throw the ball to win. But thank God they have Alvin Kamara there.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it and say that I'm 100% like buying in on Bridgewater, because I'm not. But I think their defense is good enough. I think Kamara and Thomas can make his job a lot easier. The one thing with Bridgewater that I've seen is he sits in the pocket too long, and I think he's got to be more. I think he's got to be quicker back there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very impressed with their win against Seattle, and I'm definitely impressed with their win last week. Yeah, that's the reason I have them at number 3, and at number 4 I have the Cowboys, and number 5 I have the Seahawks. So
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm a fan. I don't know why I'm so big on Russell Wilson this year. Like I mean, I didn't draft him. I'm a big Dak Prescott was my guy this year, and it is so far come to fruition, except for last week. But pretty. Speaking of Russell Wilson, a pretty spicy game last night.
Yeah.
I mean, Greg. I mean, if Greg Zuerlein decided to do his only and solitary job, but it was if you ignore the score, it was a pretty defensive game. A couple of field goals in the first quarter, and then did you guys see that Lockett catch?
I did. Yes, I did.
Oh,
that gave me Santonio Holmes. Like,
oh man, catch of the it might already be catch of the week, because that was crazy.
Yeah,
and I think
how Russell Wilson was able to, throw that pass so accurately.
Cross body on the run, perfect dime. Only Tyler Lockett could catch that pass.
Yep.
An absolutely amazing throw. And I think we'll see these two teams again. I don't think, I wouldn't say it's far off to say that, one of them's going to have to be a wild card because they can't both win. But I don't think it's far off to say that, the Rams might end up being one of the better teams and that they might see each other again. You never know. It is also possible that you might get 3 teams in the same division to make the playoffs again, which that hasn't happened a little bit. But the 49ers, I think the 49ers are going to fall off. So, all 3 of those teams might be right there in the playoffs. So, you might see this team again. But Russell Wilson's playing like an MVP. Jared Goff isn't playing, as amazing as he could be. But, Todd Gurley having him in the backfield, come back in that game, having the game he did.
Yeah.
It was
2 touchdowns?
Yeah, it was a good game.
2 touchdowns, 50 yards.
That game was good. That was a good game, and those are the kind of games you need on a Thursday night. My God.
Yeah, and we don't get those that often this season for
why don't
Thursday night football?
Let's get rid of them. Like, what's the point of having them? Like, if you're literally every week, it's like, all right, fellas, we need a Thursday night game, and they're like, why don't we do the Miami Dolphins against the Tennessee Titans? It's like,
what?
Who the fuck's gonna want that?
At least next week we get New York at Patriots, the Giants to be specific.
And if Eli Manning was in, I would be like, but the fact that Daniel Jones is in the game might actually make it, a game.
Yeah, we'll
Danny Dimes. Yeah, I think Danny Dimes is. I think he's gonna be something.
He's looking pretty good, man.
He's looking real good.
He is looking pretty good. Speaking of upcoming games, fellas, you guys got any sneaky games to look out for? Besides, we obviously don't got to talk about like. You guys got any sneaky games on your radar?
I have one that I'd like to bring forth to the board here, the Council of Elders that we have. So the game that I'm proposing as a sneaky game, something to look out for, I mentioned it before, is Buffalo at the Tennessee Titans. It's a
okay.
Let me tell you, it's like I mean, Buffalo's 3-1. Obviously, they lost to the Patriots in a very competitive game. I want to throw that out there. They only lost by 6 points. And Tennessee is in the middle of a four-way tie, effectively, in the AFC South. They're sitting at 2-2. For in such an early game, this is a must-win for both teams to kind of like. For the Bills, it's really just to see if they can make the wild card. They're not beating the Patriots for the division. The Titans are in a division where it's definitely any one of those four teams could realistically take it.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a game to watch because there's very high implications even for a Week 5 game for both of these teams. And the Bills need to just win every game they can to try and keep up with New England. So that's my kind of out of left field pick for a game to watch because it's a pretty important one for both teams. Matters a lot.
Yeah, I feel that. Austin, game you're looking out for this week?
Not in particularly a sneaky game, but personally, I'm just looking forward to the Colts Juice game. I think it's just gonna be a real exciting one to watch.
Oh yeah.
I think that game, like Noah said, I think it could turn into a friggin' mini shootout. You know,
and I'd love to see Jacoby Brissett, just air it out because I haven't.
Sure you would.
Yeah, he's been impressing me.
Yeah.
I know me and Brent feel similarly on this game, and if you really think about it, if this was week 1, this game would probably suck. But I'm looking out for the Panthers-Jaguars game.
Yes,
okay. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's all right. First off, let me just say something a little bit about Cam Newton. I think it's time to move on from Cam Newton. I'm not saying Kyle Allen has to be the guy, but I'm saying that it's time to get rid of Cam. I'm not saying you trade him.
Really?
Obviously, you don't gotta release him. But there's a lot of teams who need quarterbacks, and I think Cam Newton. He had one Super Bowl run, but after that, man, he literally can't hit an open. I could make more accurate. Without Christian McCaffrey, man, who knows what the record would be? They might haven't never won a game this year.
Yeah.
He's very injury prone.
Oh, injury, and then besides that, he's just a bitch. My God. God, dude.
Why don't you tweet at him, man?
I might. Pull the red carpet away, dude. Take your fucking scarf off. Get rid of your hat. Go play a goddamn game and maybe see if you can hit an open receiver once in a while. Maybe you can start dressing up.
Sorry to any Carolina Panthers fans listening to this podcast.
Piss off, Carolina Panthers fans. That's what I gotta say. Now, I read an interesting article on the Associated Press. I just wanted to give you a little snippet of the article.
Okay.
So, big dong Gardner Minshew is going to be out there, and then
Big dong.
and then. So I thought this was interesting. It said Minshew Mania versus Anonymous Allen. And now, so, they could have just been saying
what you gonna do when Minshew Mania runs wild on you, brother?
Ooh, yeah.
Anonymous Allen.
I thought that was kind of disrespectful, man. He's winning games.
Yeah, he's won both of the games he started.
Yeah, and you know how many games Cam Newton's won this year? None. So the Associated Press article reads, 2 young QBs with different looks but similar styles have taken over in Jacksonville and Carolina, energizing their teams to an 0-2 start. Now, like I said, if this was Nick Foles and Cam Newton, I might be saying, I'm not going to watch that garbo. But I think it is worth mentioning that these 2 teams are now relevant in their divisions because of these 2 kids.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that's far off to say. And I just want to roll over. I'm gonna be talking for a minute here, but I think it's worth mentioning. I thought this was mind figure this out. 9 teams had a backup quarterback, whether they have one in now or they had one at the beginning of the season, have had a backup quarterback in. Start off Jacksonville, Gardner Minshew. Carolina, Kyle Allen. New Orleans has Bridgewater. New York has Daniel Jones. Other New York, the I don't know if they're worse. Okay, actually, yeah, no, they have Falk, which is, oh man, What a piece of garbage that man is. I count this. I don't know if you count this because it happened before. The Colts have Jacoby Brissett. I would consider him the backup because it was not planned to have him. Pittsburgh has Mason Rudolph. And Chicago has Chase Daniels, and Washington has Haskins or Colt McCoy, whichever lamb they decide to go get slaughtered. Will be the one. And then another interesting fact, 6 teams, and only one of these 6 teams is mentioned in that last list, have second-year rookie guy. Baker Mayfield for the Browns. Oh, man. Allen for Buffalo. Oh, God. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. Darnold, when he does play Jets in most of the time, it would be Mitch Trubisky playing for the Chicago Bears, or Kyler Murray in Arizona. I don't know if you did the little math there, but that is pretty much damn near half the league. Yep. Playing backups or second-year guys. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it is far off to say that these are the next guys. You think Eli Manning's going to come back and steal this job back from Daniel Jones?
No,
there's no way.
Okay, I don't think the Giants let Eli stay in for many, many losing seasons. Even if Jones loses the next 6 games, I'd be absolutely shocked. You're like, all right, Eli, put that helmet back on, buddy. Time for you to lose the next 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no thanks. But this is the future. This is the future of the league, and I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of scared.
Scared?
Dude. Defense wins championships. Quarterbacks put asses. That's a fact. And are you going to go see? Are you going to? I can't even say throw the ball. It's kind of hard calling him a quarterback because he sucks. And are you going to go watch Mason Rudolph pass the ball for 5 yards at a time? No, like that's just not what I'm looking for, man. Like, how do you guys feel? How do you guys feel? All these backups playing. No Drew Brees, no Big Ben, no Eli. Like, how do you guys feel about all these backup quarterbacks playing?
I think it's a big problem, honestly. Like, for example, this Sunday night, Colts Chiefs.
Sunday night, a spit swapping makeout match.
Like, if Andrew Luck was still there, God, this would be
crazy game.
Showdown.
An absolute, like, probably the number 2 and the number 3 teams in the AFC facing off against each other. I think, and it's not going to change. I mean, the next couple weeks, or what was it last week? We had Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh. I mean, normally that's a really good game. Big Ben, Cincinnati, they got that division rivalry, and it just was not a fun game to watch. I mean, backup quarterbacks, like you said, they don't put asses in seats. It's a fact.
Unless you're Gardner Minshew.
Which we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a second. But all right. So some of those second-year guys, I want to get your opinion. Is Baker Mayfield overrated?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. There you go. I know. Now you got not just this. You got to think about last season too. Is Lamar Jackson a little overrated?
I mean, I like what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, of course.
I'm more hesitant to say that than I was with Mayfield.
Absolutely. Well, but you got to think
he's proven hype right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, he's going out there and playing some ball.
But last year
was disgusting
for Lamar Jackson.
Oh yeah.
It was not disgusting. Yeah, it was. I mean,
it was his rookie year. Expected.
I get it. It was his rookie year, but and okay, how about this one? Josh Allen in Buffalo. If any of you say he's underrated, leave.
No.
I don't think anybody's calling him under or overrated.
Yeah,
I think
he's just bad.
He's just kind of there. Yeah.
I think he just needs time to develop.
We need to bring back Nathan Peterman to Buffalo.
Oh, stop!
Where's Geno Smith?
Geno the God.
Okay. So I think Sam Darnold has some potential. I
mean, out of the people you just named, I mean, he does. We're kind of yet to see him play. a full season, I don't think.
No, yeah. I mean, he played last year, but again, rookie year, you can take it with a grain of salt because are they going to suck every year? Maybe. You could be Josh Allen, but I think Sam Darnold has potential. What about Mitch Trubisky? How do you guys feel about Mitch Trubisky? Because
I don't like him.
Yeah, right. I don't like him either.
I don't like him.
I know you drafted him, Noah. You were kind of not hot. I'm not going to say that's not fair, but you liked him.
I think I took him just because
you needed someone.
I needed someone. I didn't necessarily have a lot of faith in him, but I also didn't think. I thought he was surrounded by talent in Chicago, not necessarily like superstars, but people
enough
to work
something.
with.
And that defense. It's always good having a defense.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
I wasn't predicting him to put up insane numbers, but do what he needed to do to get a dub. Because
and I mean, hey, they had a good season last year. They did pretty good.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Last season, I thought Trubisky was very underrated, and after watching his Week 1 performance against Green Bay, I may have been a little bit wrong with that assessment. I think the defense is definitely has carried them to where they've kind of been at now in the conference.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's a little too early with some of these guys because we haven't seen them in a playoff game or them but I am a little worried.
Yeah, and then not even think about the guys that are next. Just think about who's leaving. Obviously, I think Eli's probably close to done.
He's gotta be.
Because you got to think he right now is like 500 his all-time record, like wins and losses. And I think they strategically benched him so he wouldn't have more losses than wins because I really think they want to get him into the Hall of Fame, of course.
Yeah.
Big Ben, I thought Big Ben was going to retire 4 years ago. And
he just for 5,000 yards last season.
Yeah, and he just keeps coming back from the dead. But I think after this, I don't know. He might call. Drew Brees is another one. How much longer can he play? And then the obvious one, Tom Brady. How much longer can he? I mean,
I don't even know anymore. I there's no predictor.
He's gonna walk out on the field and collapse when he dies.
He's age proof.
Like there was that game against the Chiefs, 5 years ago or something, where we just got totally destroyed, and people thought that was the end of the Brady era. And he's won 3 Super Bowls since that game. It's just there's no point in even trying to have any conjecture towards what the fuck's happening with. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, his system has obviously protected him, but he's still slinging it. It's insane. He can throw downfield. He's doing it. I don't get it.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say, Antonio Brown was nice for a game, but I wouldn't say he's loaded up with crazy weapons this year. He made James. Sony Michel literally doesn't catch the ball to save his life. Josh Gordon, a career revival. Can't lay off the weed, but he's back and playing really good. Philip Dorsett? Philip Dorsett. Who the hell was he before?
Unbelievably reliable out there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I love having him on the team.
He didn't drop a pass. He literally didn't drop a pass for a week ago. And then 2 other guys to mention too that might not be retiring soon, but they're close. Phillip Rivers, he's 37, and he has 56 kids. How much longer can he play football?
Yeah.
He does, doesn't he? Doesn't he have 10 kids or something crazy like that? And then Aaron Rodgers, he's hurt all the time. He hasn't really played like Aaron Rodgers the last, few years.
That's actually the sad thing is that before you said Aaron Rodgers, he didn't even pop into my head during this conversation.
He's 35. He's not young.
He's so quietly fallen off, and not to obscurity, but he just kind of fell.
Yeah.
Obviously, if I had to pick quarterbacks in a game, I'd probably pick Rodgers. But my God, he's not. It ain't MVP Aaron Rodgers. And it's just I don't know. It's just hard to imagine these guys taken over. I like to call it, reviewing who who's good and who's bad. I like to call it bona fide stud and certified scrub, personally.
Yep.
Love it.
All right, let's get two names out of the way for scrub and stud. Mahomes,
Okay.
stud. I don't think that's stop. Like we didn't really have to bring. I'd put Wentz in the stud category.
Yeah, he's got balls.
Yeah, he's
Damn
got
right he's got balls.
I like Wentz.
And then Josh Allen is a scrub, and I would say that I'll name off a few that aren't arguable. Luke Falk, Dwayne Haskins, scrubs, threw 3 picks in like his first game. Like I don't know. It's just not good. So what are your guys' takes on these kids, Kyle Allen and Gardner Minshew? Where do you guys put them?
Probably right in the middle, I guess.
You think so?
I would say
I don't.
Gardner and Minshew a little higher, but yeah.
No, I think I'd put I'd put Minshew below him, to be honest.
Really? No mustache and all?
If Minshew wasn't becoming like an overnight pop culture icon, like he'd just be like, all right, he's coming in and winning games, but he's not winning them well. Like he's not doing amazing.
Yeah, it did take a Lambo kick.
Like between 2 games, he's thrown like 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, which is
he's not throwing a ton.
He's not throwing
picks.
He's not he's not committing turnovers, but he's just kind of.
But neither is Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen has no picks. Gardner Minshew has 1.
Yeah, I don't think. Hold on, let me look. Oh, he does have 1, doesn't he? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they're pretty similar, but I don't. I think Minshew is. I need to see more before I make a judgment on him. Same with Allen.
No, Kyle Allen, the Panthers guy.
Yeah, is that who you were talking about? I thought that's what you said.
Well, Gardner Minshew. I'm kind of with you. I need to see a little more, but Kyle Allen, he shuts up. He plays football, and that is all you see.
Yeah,
and what about? We talked about Sam Darnold, but what do you guys? All right, so Baker Mayfield's overrated. I'm in the middle for him because he did good last year. He ain't doing too good this year. What about? We didn't talk much about Kyler Murray. What do you guys think about Kyler?
He's just. I don't know. He's just a victim of being the first overall pick on a terrible team. Like we just don't know yet.
Yeah. Do you think Brett? Do you think it's him or the team?
I think it's mostly the team.
I mean, they've had a pretty tough schedule too. You know.
Yeah, they played
bums. Seattle. They played Carolina. They played Baltimore.
Even the Lions.
Yeah. Like
this year.
The Cardinals just, and Kyler Murray specifically, just haven't been able to catch a break. You know, like it's just I don't know when we'll know if Kyler Murray's a stud or not. He's doing what he can.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's a tough schedule. It's just a tough schedule. Like Baltimore, Carolina, and Seattle.
And then not only that, to play the Rams, the Seahawks, and the 49ers twice.
Yep.
That's just a recipe for sucking. Like that's not going to do good for anyone.
Yeah.
And now Austin, I know you said you weren't the biggest fan of Lamar Jackson here, but you're liking what you see this year. So where do you put him? You think this guy's a stud, or you guys think he's a scrub?
I mean, for the season so far, yeah. I mean, I'd ride the hot end and say he's a stud, absolutely. I wouldn't necessarily say that if I wasn't thinking season 1 doesn't matter, you know what I mean? Season 2 solely stud. With his past overall, I don't know. You know, it's hard. Not that he did like terrible, but he just he wasn't stud.
I mean, level, here's the thing. In like he only had 170. I'm looking right now. He had 170 attempts last season, and he already has 134 this season. I know he didn't play every game last season, but
but he's throwing the ball a lot more, which I like.
Yeah, and he's doing it well. That was the thing. People were like,
that's a good point. He's actually quite well.
Yeah, he's got 10 touchdowns, 2 picks. He's averaging 8 yards per attempt. 65% completion.
I don't know. Dak, I think Dak's a stud. I thought Dak was always reliable enough to win games. I don't think
that Cowboys offense is just dynamic. Like, there's just so many weapons on that offense.
Yeah, you
So-
really have everything you need over there.
So if you really think about it too, like who? So it goes. I would say the two best quarterbacks in the league are Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes.
All that.
Who
Yeah.
who comes after them? And you could
Who's
say the same thing
healthy?
about you could say the same thing about the teams. Who's after the Chiefs and Patriots in the AFC? Because
That's
it Lamar
something I
Jackson?
wanted to discuss is like who realistically could win that conference besides Kansas City and New England. I don't think there's
the
really.
Texans, maybe. That's a maybe.
I mean, we talked about this the other day, but like the only other team I'd even consider putting in the third spot is Baltimore. I think. I don't think any other team can. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
No, I don't. And then if you think about it from a quarterback perspective, it goes Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, 1-2. You flip them wherever you want. But then after that, all NFC.
Yeah.
It's all NFC quarterbacks. I would say.
And
Yeah. I mean,
go ahead, Austin.
in the AFC, I mean, just looking at the teams, I think Phillip Rivers is like the next best, most talented. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the
There's-
Chargers. I'd put,
But there's
similar
lot.
to
There's
stature.
a lot
than
more.
Baltimore.
There's a lot of better quarterbacks than Phillip Rivers. So, and they're all in the other conference. That's crazy.
Yeah,
I think
it is
The
weird.
only other quarterback that can follow, Brady, Mahomes, I think number 3 would have to be probably like Russell Wilson. As of like just specifically this season, especially Wilson has just been, he's been consistent.
I mean, I
he's-
think Russell Wilson's always sounded like it's been consistently good.
Yeah, and then like I don't know who I'd throw in there because if we're going off of this season mostly, it's really hard to tell. Like Dak could be up there, Lamar Jackson is obviously up there, and Rivers is like a tier below that, but there's really not that many. The only people I'd put in the top tier is Mahomes, Brady, and Wilson.
Absolutely. That's top tier.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't put Rodgers in there. I don't think that's unfair.
No, not anymore.
I'm not for this season.
If we're
No.
ranking them, like Smash Bro characters, then I would say that like those 3 are like S tier, and then like after that down to high tier. But I don't know. He ain't that guy anymore.
Yep.
I don't think. And now, Brett, I know you're a big fan of this Gardner Minshew. Is
I
the
am.
mustache and the big set of balls is this sustainable?
I mean, it's funny because when Nick Foles got hurt, like everyone immediately dismissed the Jaguars. And Minshew, he really did come out of nowhere. He went to a small school, Washington State, and he's got the look, he's
He
got
does.
the look.
He does. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Like, it is just nice to have, like, someone, like I said, with some balls, man. It's really annoying, all these quarterbacks. They get sacked and they're rolling around calling for a flag. It is nice to see some dude who can get hit, stand back up, limp around a little bit, out there and throw the ball. I think this is good for the league, and I know you do too, Brett.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of these young guys, they're just not very entertaining, I guess. I mean, I know that's hard to say when you're losing, but Minshew, he just, to me, he has like that it factor, I guess, in like that you want to see in a quarterback. He's not super like agile, but he can definitely like shed tackles. Like there was one play last week, I'm sure you guys all saw it. He dropped back in the pocket and probably like 4 guys collapsed on him, and he was rolling around. He threw a dart to the left side of the end zone. I forget who caught it. I think it might have been Shark.
Was it Shaughnessy? Wasn't it the tight end?
Yeah. Shaughnessy. Yeah. Like I don't know, just stuff like that. Like that would give me hope as a Jaguars fan.
Yeah, I agree.
And
yeah,
I just
it is nice. It is nice to just have some personality in the league. It's kind of annoying, playing with these sticks. And that's what sucks about baseball. My God, I'm a big baseball guy, but it does suck. There's no personality. There's no nothing. It is nice to have these dudes. Baker Mayfield, might be a little bit of a bitch, but it is nice to, have someone who's not afraid to talk, not afraid to, throw out some lines for, the media. It's nice.
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. And I mean, who knows? Like, I mean, Minshew could easily like fizzle out like in the next couple of weeks. Like, he could start throwing interceptions. Like, he's not gonna, I don't think, sustain this pace the whole season. I mean, but I will say, like, their division,
Oh yeah,
is very wide open at the moment. You got the Colts with Jacoby Brissett. You got the Texans, who I think have, I don't know, the Texans.
Yeah,
they're not the same team this year.
yeah. I was actually gonna bring that up when we were talking about quarterbacks with Deshaun Watson. This is a guy where I feel like he could have potentially played in an elite tier, but he's just not.
but is that him or is that the O-line? Because I know he gets sacked a god awful. I don't have the number in front, but I know, especially when he played the Saints. Yeah, especially when he played the Saints, I know he got sacked like 6 times or something crazy like that. It was something ridiculous. So obviously you guys throw the ball, but you need time, and I know he's getting crappy down.
Yeah, so Deshaun Watson has been sacked 18 times, which is third.
In 4
Third,
weeks.
number one is Kyler Murray, who's been sacked 20 times. So that kind of just tells you what you need to know.
Bastard.
Welcome to the fucking league. Here's 20 sacks in 4 games.
Yeah, huh?
Oh, God.
Yeah, so there you go. 18 sacks for Deshaun Watson. It's rough.
That is hard. It's hard. Impossible to play. Throw the ball.
We got Brady, who's been sacked 3 times all season.
He's the best offense. I almost said offensive. The best offensive line is getting the ball out quick, and we all know Brady that literally better than anyone because he doesn't have legs. He's basically a giraffe.
Yeah, he is a giraffe.
So he has to get it out as possible. But I don't know. I like having these personalities. I do like having these guys.
We need Ryan Fitzpatrick. He has the biggest personality of all.
Oh, man.
We need Ryan Fitzpatrick and Nathan Peterman back in this league.
Nate Peterman. God,
man, what a class.
That's the best way to not get sacked. Just get it out of your hands, throw it right to the other.
Yep.
Go and sit down, drink some Gatorade, do it all again.
Yeah, I was gonna say, quick games, fellas. Come on, we got shit.
Oh, man.
And I also think I know you guys aren't big college guys, Austin and Noah, but I do think it is something to mention. A few guys coming up in the draft. I'll make it quick, but Jalen Hurts, he's having a great career. He's had a great college career. Yep. 2 national championship appearances, 1 national title. He transferred schools because he wants to play. Senior year, he's killing it at OU. And then the guy who replaced him, Tua Tagovailoa, 23 TDs. His ball security is immaculate. 0 picks. National championship, 2 appearances. They lost one of them, but what do you mean? Jake Fromm, I'm a big Jake Fromm Georgia guy. Me and Brett kind of feel the same way about Georgia. God, if they didn't have to play Alabama every year, they might be one of the better teams. And
I can't speak too much to that, so go off.
And then Trevor Lawrence, man. Oh, man. You guys, wait. I'm telling you, Google that. If you don't know, Google this kid's name. Huge prospect. He's coming up. Andrew Luck status.
Is that the guy from Clemson?
Status. Yeah, long hair.
Yeah.
That kid is a pro. I'm telling you, Monday Morning QB, man. They wrote a big article on him. The NFL is just waiting for this kid. The poor bastard probably gonna have to play for. I'm assuming the Miami Dolphins are gonna draft Tua Tagovailoa, but he's gonna have to play for some shit team. But hey, man, someone could turn it around. You never know. I think it is. I think it's nice to mention that big names coming up in the draft, and I think that'll help.
That's good. Yeah, that's exciting.
It is nice.
Exciting. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm telling you, peep them, man. They are legit. Those guys are all legit. I don't even know what's next. I lost my paper.
We are closing in on like an hour and a half, so I don't know if you want to.
All right. Well, you want to just get to the pick 'em and move on?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, Austin. Why don't you start up? So we got Packers, Cowboys, Colts and Chiefs, and Browns and Niners.
Packers, Cowboys. I'm gonna ride Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott in that one. Definitely gonna say Cowboys in that. Colts Chiefs. It's gonna be a shootout, but I think the Chiefs are gonna take that one. Patrick Mahomes is just too good. And Niners Browns.
You gotta stick to your guns, my man. You gotta do it.
I am. I'm choosing the Niners over the Browns in that one. I think the Browns on paper are really good, but on the field, I don't think they're as good as they should be. So I'm gonna go with Jimmy Garoppolo in the hot hand.
I know who you got.
So I'm factoring in the fact that I'm factoring which team is home, but I only have one home team winning their game, and that's the Chiefs. I do have the Packers beating the Cowboys, and I have the Browns beating the 49ers.
All right, Brett.
All right. I have the Cowboys beating the Packers at home. I think, I put a lot of my faith in Dak, not so much in Rodgers this year. I think the Packers are one of those teams that has just kind of gotten lucky.
Yeah.
So I do pick the Cowboys in that one. And then Chiefs Colts. I have yet to see a defense that can stop Patrick Mahomes. So I think that's an easy one right there.
Yeah.
And I do think Brissett will put up numbers, but to say that he's going to throw for 400 yards like Mahomes has done every week is a little bit much. And then as disappointing as the Browns have been this season, I am going to pick them in this game. I don't know. I think the 49ers coming off a bye, that is definitely an advantage that they'll have. However, I think the Browns defense is much better than the 49ers, and for that reason, I have to pick the Browns.
Okay.
I feel you. All right. So I got, I do have to go against my guy, Dak Prescott. It's a crying shame. But I am gonna pick. I'm gonna pick the Green Bay Packers.
Nice, you're with me.
Yeah, I am gonna. I'm telling you, I don't know. I just have a feeling that this defense is gonna do something to them. I just have a hunch, man. I don't know. And then, God, I really want to say Colts, but I just can't. Every team's supposed to win a game that every team wins a game that's supposed to win. It ain't this one, and so I'll call the Chiefs on that one. And then, I think this is the game. Baker Mayfield, Jarvis, OBJ, Nick Chubb. Watch out, man. I think that's the game. They're going to turn it around, and they're going to give the 49ers their first loss. A sham of a season, the 49ers, because they played absolute garbage.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. That was good first week. Good first week.
Yeah, what a show we got there. We got about an hour and 40 minutes ish of conversation. We'll be wrapping up here.
Yeah, definitely. All right,
Specs, you started the thing up, so why don't you sign us off?
Wrap it up. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back. We ain't done. This ain't a one-time. This ain't a one-night stand, fellas. We're gonna be back. We record them on Friday, and we're probably gonna put them out on Saturday, Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna be back as a weekly thing. For Austin, Noah, Brent, I'm Austin Speck, and we'll be back next week. We'll see you then. This is 4 quarters of a whole idiot, and we'll be back with more pro football talk, Adam Schefter level talk.
Oh,
Don't sleep on Preston Williams.
Don't sleep on Preston Williams. Right. Well, we'll be back. You guys have a good night.